Hello and welcome to our latest episode of Journey Students Online. Thank you for tuning in to our latest episode. This is where we provide positive content in a crazy world because we know life is crazy. So let me just give you something really simple today. We're in the basics of our Christian faith. And one of the things I think we need to really keep out in front of us as Christians, which is I think why a lot of people don't believe in Christianity, is that sometimes our church is really divided. Like, not my church specifically, I'm sure our church has been too, but just God's people in general are often very divisive, and that's not how God intended it. In fact, when he said Jesus reached every single person, the rich, the poor, different genders, different groups of people, like from different backgrounds and different countries, different ethnicities. And so we need to remember that unity is really important. Here at our church, that is one of our core values. Unity is extremely important. In fact, it tells us in the Bible, it says in Romans 12:10, be devoted to tenderly loving your fellow believer as members of one family. Try to outdo yourselves in respect and honor of one another. Romans 12:10. That is such a good scripture. We need to outdo and honor. And let's be honest, this is a great platform. Social media, YouTube, Instagram, I think it's a great tool. But just like any tool, it can be used for good and bad. And I think one of the downsides of social media in our phones is that it has really isolated us, especially in the church. We get isolated because, we don't know how to have conversations or confrontations anymore. Our faces are buried in our phones, all of us, myself included, that we don't know how to look up to a fellow believer and have a conversation when we disagree, or just in general, having conversations. And so one of the most important things I've been trying to challenge myself and people is, hey, maybe put down the phone a little bit. Maybe give yourself some time and separate, and make sure you give yourself to God, devote to God and devote to other people. Maybe get back into church, back into your youth group, and be devoted even though other people aren't comfortable. Oh, I don't like going to church because people are difficult, people are hypocrites. Hey, we're all hypocrites at some level. No one's perfect. And so we as a church need to work on not being so hypocritical, but also we need to show grace and mercy to other people. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to unity, is that grace is the key. Giving other people what they don't deserve. That's what grace is. I was teaching my son about that the other day. Trying to teach an 8-year-old about grace is very difficult. And that's basically giving someone else the benefit of the doubt, even when you think they don't deserve it. That is a great way to maintain unity. Another way we maintain unity is having a church that looks like heaven. The book of Revelation tells us that when we get to heaven, we're not going to all look like one specific group of people. All nations, tribes, and tongues will gather together in heaven. And then our churches are segregated across the world, not just America. We segregate, and that is not healthy. So here's my challenge. Does your circle of friends look like you? Look like you, talk like you, act like you, same language, same color of skin? Do you have different people in your circle of friends? You might say, well, I have no problems with anybody else. Yeah, but if you invited anyone else in, have you asked the good questions, the why questions? Sometimes we are segregated simply because we don't want to be uncomfortable. Sometimes in order to embrace another ethnicity, someone of a different color or culture, we have to be willing to be uncomfortable. And unity starts often in a place where we are uncomfortable. And so that's two things. The church needs to work at being more united in our attitudes and love towards each other, but also in inviting other people that look different than us, and realizing God made each and every one of them, and putting down our prejudice. Sometimes we have blind prejudices we don't even realize. Whether it's white, black, Spanish, any culture. I lived around the world. Prejudice takes all forms. The most important thing is we put people first, like it says here, be devoted. So one way we can do that is grow your circle of friends. Invite other people in. Begin to ask questions about yourself. Where am I? Maybe have some blind spots. That's what we can do to be a church that's more unified. Thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you next time. We love you.